Hello everyone, welcome to Parishram Vigyanam. In this part of the video, we'll discuss about flowers. This will be the part 4 from the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants. We have already done roots, leaf, stem in the previous videos. You can go and check it out. So this is the fourth video of this chapter. Okay, let's start with the flowers. So first, a flower has 4 whorls, okay, and that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So calyx means what? Calyx is the sepals, it's talking about the sepals, and corolla is the petals. The bunch of petals is called the corolla, and the bunch of the whole sepals is called the calyx. Androecium is the male part of a flowering plant and gynoecium is the female part of a flowering plant. Is it clear? These are attached to the swollen terminal of the pedicel, which is called the thalamus. These 4 structure, which is called as the 4 whorls of a flower, is attached to a base called the thalamus. Is it clear? I'll show you one picture, then it will be more clear to you. Okay, see this picture. So here, can you see? These are the sepals, and sepals are also called like calyx, C-A-L-Y-X, calyx. And we have petals. These are the petals, okay, which we can also call as corolla. Okay, then we have the female part gynoecium and we have the male part androecium, which are attached to a particular base, swollen base called thalamus. Is it clear now? These are the 4 whorls of a flower. Okay, clear the slide? Moving on to the next slide. This calyx and corolla are called the accessory organ of a flower, and this androecium and gynoecium is called the reproductive organ of a flower. Okay. Then the flower with both androecium and gynoecium, means the flower which is having both male and female part, will be called the bisexual flower. Okay. And in some plants, this calyx and corolla, means sepals and petals, are not distinct and are called perianth. In some flowers, we can't distinguish the sepals and petals, which is sepals, which is petals, or we can say which is calyx, which is corolla. We can't distinguish. Okay, then we'll term it as perianth. Suppose in case of this flower, so we can't differentiate this flower which is sepals and which is petals. So we'll call it as a perianth. Is it clear? Okay, then moving on to the next slide. This diagram is very important. So here I have already explained this sepals, this leafy green structure is the sepals. You have colored structure called petals, and the female reproductive part is having stigma, style, ovary. Stigma, this is style, this is ovary part, and inside the ovary you have ovules, and all the structure of the female reproductive part is called the pistils. Okay, and the male reproductive part is having anther, which is having the pollen grains, and you have the filament, whole together called as stamen. Okay. Then moving on to the next slide, let's talk about inflorescence. Inflorescence, what is inflorescence? It is the arrangement of the flower around the floral axis. How the flowers are arranged around the floral axis, we'll see that. Okay, one by one. There's 2 types. Okay, one is racemose inflorescence. In this case, can you see in the mustard this flower diagram? The bud will be at the top and the older flower will be at the bottom. Okay, so the main axis grow indefinitely, so it will grow indefinitely. The flower are present laterally in the acropetal succession. The flowers are arranged in an acropetal succession, means the older flower at the bottom and the younger flower at the top. This is called the acropetal succession, which you can see in racemose. Inflorescence means in the base, the older flower will be at the base and the younger bud one will be at the top. Okay, and they will grow indefinitely. Is it clear? An example you can see in mustard plant. Acropetal succession you can see in racemose inflorescence. Is it clear? Then moving on to the next type of inflorescence, that is cymose inflorescence. Cymose inflorescence. You can see cymose inflorescence in case of jasmine. You can see the older flower is at the top and the younger flower is at the bottom. The bud is at the bottom. The opposite one. Okay. In case of cymose inflorescence, the main axis terminates in the flower and has limited growth. So in that racemose inflorescence, it grows indefinitely, it has said, no? But this has a limited growth. Can you find out the difference? And the flowers are born as a basipetal order. So there the previous one was acropetal order. This was basipetal order. Means what? All the flowers are at the top and the new flower are at the bottom. Is it clear? The older flower is at the top and the younger flower is at the bottom. For example, in jasmine, you can see cymose inflorescence. Is it clear? Then moving on to the next slide. So this is the example showing racemose and cymose inflorescence, where you can see in case of racemose inflorescence, the younger flower is at the top and the older flower is at the bottom, and in cymose inflorescence the older flower is at the top and the younger flower is at the bottom. Okay. Okay, then moving on to the next slide, we'll see now flower symmetry. Okay, flower symmetry here, the flower symmetry is basically of two different types, like in animal symmetry we have done. Okay, so in flower symmetry we'll see actinomorphic symmetry. Actinomorphic symmetry is more like a radial symmetry, means whenever you divide a particular flower in more than one plane, we are dividing into more than one plane. You can see in this figure we can divide into more than one plane. There you will give two equal halves. They are giving equal number of halves. For example, in chili also we can see chili flowers, in dhatura flowers also, and in mustard flower. We can see actinomorphic symmetry, where we can divide a particular flower in more than one plane. Okay, this is somewhat similar to the radially symmetrical, which we have studied in what? In animal kingdom. Okay. Are you getting? Then moving on to the next type of symmetry is zygomorphic symmetry, in which when a flower can be divided into two equal parts in only one vertical plane. So in one plane we can divide, we'll get two equal halves. We can't divide this particular flower in more than one plane. Okay, and we are getting equal halves only if we divide it in one particular plane. For example, KCI orchids or pea plant flower, we can see zygomorphic symmetry. Is it clear? Okay, then moving on to the next slide. Flowers can be trimerous, tetramerous and pentamerous depending on the multiple of floral appendages present, means depending upon the number of petals present in the form of 3, 4, 5, we can name it as a trimerous, tetramerous and pentamerous. Suppose we have a flower which is having 3 petals. 3 petals, like in this case 3 petals we can see. Then we name this flower as trimerous flower. Okay, and suppose we have a flower having 4 numbers of petals, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we name this flower as tetramerous flower. And suppose we have a flower which is having 5 numbers of petals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 numbers of petals, then we call it as pentamerous flower. Is it clear? Okay, then moving on to the next slide. Types of flowers depending on the presence or absence of bracts. Okay, bracts are reduced leaf present at the base of the pedicel. So the plant, the flower which are having bracts are called bractate, and the flowers which does not have bracts are called ebractate. Means suppose if you have a flower. This is a flower, these are sepals. Okay, so in this particular area, a small leaf-like structure is there. Reduced leaf-like structure. These are called as bracts. Okay, the flower which contains bracts are called bractate, and the flower which does not contains the bract are called ebractate. Okay. Then moving on to the next slide. Types of flower based on the position of Calyx, Corolla and Androecium with respect to the ovary on thalamus we'll see. Means what? We'll see the position of ovary on the basis of the position of the calyx, the sepals, corolla, the petals and the male part, the Androecium part. Okay. Based on this 3 structure, we'll see the position of the ovary on the thalamus. So 3 types are there. We'll see the first type, that is hypogynous. Can you see in this picture where is the location of the ovary? Here. Okay, and in the base, towards the base of the ovary, the male part Androecium is there, and towards the base of the ovary, the sepals is also there, calyx, and towards the base of the ovary, the petals, the corolla is also coming out. Means ovary is at the top. Means it is at the superior position. Okay, let's see what it is written. Gynoecium, the female ovary it is talking about. Gynoecium occupies the highest place. So it is occupying the highest place. It is at the top. Okay, above all the other parts. Okay, the ovary is known as the superior ovary in this case. So we can see this case in case of brinjal, China rose, hibiscus means mustard. We can see this type of hypogynous ovary. Okay. Then now moving on to the next slide. This is perigynous condition. In case of perigynous condition, can you see the ovary, the male part, Androecium, the calyx, corolla are at the same level. They are at the same level. Okay, here the gynoecium is present at the same level as the rest of the part of the flower. Okay, the ovary is known as half inferior. It is known as half inferior ovary. You can see this in case of plum, rose, peace, etc. Okay, perigynous. Okay, then the last one we'll see epigynous. In case of epigynous type, we can see the ovary is at the bottom and the rest of the part, the calyx, corolla, Androecium is at the top of the ovary. Okay, let's see. Thalamus encloses the ovary completely and other parts are present above it. So the thalamus is covering all the part of the ovary and the rest of the part is at the top of the ovary. Okay, here the ovary is called the inferior ovary. Okay, for example, you can see this type of ovary in case of ray floret of sunflower, guava, cucumber, etc. Is it clear? Okay. Then moving on to the next slide. Let's see some parts of the flower. We have already discussed few parts. Again, we will discuss in details now. So each flower is having 4 floral whorls. We have already discussed this in the introductory part of the video. That is calyx, corolla, Androecium, gynoecium. Is it clear? Again we are revising it. Okay, so let's go in details about the calyx, the sepals. Okay, so let's talk about the calyx. It is the outermost wall. It will be present at the outside. Then comes the corolla, then Androecium, then Gynoecium, like that, the series. Here the members are the sepals. We have already discussed about it. So these calyx are green, leaf-like, that protects bud stage of the flower. Okay, when the flower is at the bud stage, who is to protect? The green color leafy-like structure, that is the calyx, used to protect the bud. Okay, and calyx, we'll see gamosepalous condition. What is gamosepalous condition? When sepals are united. Okay, in hibiscus, we can see the sepals are united. When we open the sepal, it's like this. The sepals are united. They are jointed sepals. Okay, that condition is called gamosepalous. And what is polysepalous? When sepals are free. We can see in case of rose. The sepals, suppose this is the rose, the sepals will be free like this. They are not jointed. Is it clear? Gamosepalous means united. Polysepalous means free. Polysepalous and gamosepalous. Gamosepalous and polysepalous. Okay. Okay. Then come to corolla. Okay. Here comes the member is what? Petals are the members of corolla. They are brightly colored to attract insect for pollination. These are the petals which are brightly colored to attract the insect for pollination. So corolla, here also there is two conditions, that is gamopetalous, like we have got in gamosepalous. Okay, gamopetalous, where petals are united, like in Dhatura plant, the petals are united. And polypetalous, the petals are free, like in case of rose. Polypetalous and polysepalous we can see in case of rose. And gamopetalous and gamosepalous we can see in Dhatura. Is it clear? See the Dhatura plant. We can see easily here. Let me zoom in. Gamosepalous. The sepals you see, it's united. Gamosepalous condition. And the petals are also united. Gamopetalous. Gamosepalous and gamopetalous. Is it clear? In case of Dhatura, gamosepalous and gamopetalous. Okay. And you go home and see in your home the rose plant. You can see they are having polypetalous and polysepalous condition. Okay. Free condition. Then we'll see estivation. What do you mean by estivation? This is the arrangement of the sepals and petals in floral bud with respect to the other members of the same whorl. So how the sepals and petals are arranged in a particular floral bud, we'll see. That is called estivation. How they are arranged. So 4 types of estivation we'll study here. Okay. So let's see. So estivation, we'll see first the valvate type of estivation. Okay, in case of valvate type of estivation, petals or sepals just touches each other and does not overlap in a whorl. So petals and sepals does not touch. In this figure, can you see? The petals and sepals does not touch each other. Okay, and do not overlap. Okay, in this plant you can see. Calotropis plant, this is a calotropis plant. The sepals and petals, the petals you can see they are not united, they are free, do not touch each other. So it is following this condition, valvate type of estivation. Is it clear? So moving on to the next type of estivation, that is twisted estivation. In this case, sepals and petals overlap the next sepals or petals and the same continues in a whorl. So sepals and petals are arranged in an overlap manner. Likewise, the same sequence they are maintaining throughout. Okay, so example in cotton, China rose, this is hibiscus, China rose, lady's finger, we can see twisted type of estivation. So this end will be at the topmost, and this is at the bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. It's like in a sequential manner, it is twisted manner, following a sequence. Okay, in case of twisted type of estivation. Now moving on to the next slide, imbricate type of estivation. In this case, margins of sepals and petals overlap each other randomly and not in one direction. So here the sepals or petals are not following one particular pattern of not following a particular pattern. They are in a random manner. Okay, they are in a random manner. Suppose in this petal, so both the end of the petal is inside, but here it is outside, inside, outside, inside, inside, outside, inside, outside. It's not following a particular pattern, jumbled up. Okay, that is called imbricate. Like gulmohar flower, you can see. Okay, it is not following any pattern, they are randomly arranged. Okay, cassia also, you can see cassia flower, imbricates. Okay, now let's see the last type of estivation, that is the vexillary estivation. Okay, in here the largest petal overlaps two petal, that is wings, present laterally on both the side, and that overlaps the two anterior petal, the keel, in the same way. Means it is saying it is having a bigger petal. This one is the bigger petal. See, can you see this is the bigger petal which is covering the smaller petal. These are known as the wings, W-I-N-G-S, wings. This is called the wings, and which is again covering up the jointed petals, which is called the keel. Is it clear? The anterior petal is known as the keel. Okay, so one large petal will be there, then the smaller wing petal will be there, then the jointed anterior petal or keel will be there. Is it clear? You can see this in case of beans or peas. Okay, like this flower, you can see vexillary type of estivation. Is it clear? Then moving on to the next slide. So let's talk about Androecium, the male reproductive part of a flower, the male part of a flower. Okay, we'll see some terminology. Let's see staminoids. What is staminoid? It is the sterile stem. Means they do not produce any kind of pollen grains, they do not help in the fertilization, they do not help in the pollination and all. Okay, so staminoids are the sterile stamen. Okay, sterile stamen. Epipetalous. Sorry. Epipetalous. Stamens are attached to petals. So in case of epipetalous condition, in case of epipetalous condition, stamens are attached to petals. Suppose these are the petals. Okay, stamens will be attached to the petals. Stamens will be attached to the petals. You can see like this condition in some flowers. The stamen is attached to the petals. So this is called epipetalous condition. And polyandrous condition you can see in stamens where the stamens are free. Like in hibiscus we can see they are free. It's like this. They are free, not jointed with the petals. Epipetalous condition where the stamen, the male part, is joined with the petals. Is it clear? Okay, moving on to the next slide. Now coming to monoadelphous condition. Three condition we'll see: monoadelphous condition, diadelphous condition, and polyadelphous condition. Okay. So in monoadelphous condition, stamens are united and present as one bundle. Means all the stamens, whatever number of stamens are there, all are united and present as one bundle only in monoadelphous condition. Okay, mono means one. Okay, in diadelphous condition, stamens are united and present in two bundles. So they are united, but two bundles they will have. Okay, and in polyadelphous condition, stamens are united and present in more than two bundles. So here also stamens are united, but they are present in more than two bundles. Okay. Is it clear? Monoadelphous, diadelphous, and polyadelphous condition. I'll show you a picture of it. This is a where to shift it? Okay. This is a monoadelphous condition. This is a monoadelphous condition. In one bundle, it is attached with a one bundle, the stamen. And here two bundles. This is one, and this is one, forming two bundles, two groups, diadelphous. Here several groups you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 groups you can see, polyadelphous condition. Is it clear? Monoadelphous, diadelphous, and polyadelphous condition. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Let's talk about gynoecium, that is female reproductive part. Okay, let's see about apocarpus and syncarpus condition. Okay, apocarpus and syncarpus condition, where more than one carpels are present. More than one carpels are present means the female reproductive part. Carpels means what? They are having stigma style ovary, that female part. More than one carpels will be present, and which are free, not jointed. They are free. Like in case of rose and lotus, more than one carpels will be present. That is called apocarpus. And in case of syncarpus, more than one carpels present which are united. More than one carpels are present and which are united, joined together, like in tomato and mustard. Is it clear? Apocarpus and syncarpus. I'll show you a picture of it. See, syncarpus condition in case of a tomato flower. Wait. See, it is jointed, no? The syncarpus condition in case of tomato flower. Okay, it is jointed. Okay, all the pistils are joined together. What we have seen, syncarpus condition, tomato. Okay, more than one carpels present which are united. You have seen in the picture, these are united. Okay, then apocarpus condition you can see in case of lotus. See, many are there which are freely present, not united. Okay, apocarpus condition and syncarpus condition. Is it clear? Okay, then flower was a big topic. We have lots of things to know about it. So hopefully you understood everything. So see you in the next video. Thank you for your patient hearing.